Hello! So in this episode we are going to cover how to make our own window covers for the van, and it's really important because with all of the windows that we have, window covers can help keep the van a little bit more insulated because windows are an area that can either bring in a lot of heat or make it cold if it's at night. So the window covers will help a little bit with insulation. It'll also help with blocking the light. So if we're trying to sleep and it's too bright outside, that will help. And then also privacy. So if it's at night and we're trying to be a bit more stealthy, the window covers will help make sure that people don't know we're necessarily in our van or can't see us in our van. So we're making window covers for all of our windows. We're doing the rear doors, our sliding door, our windshield, and our two front window covers.
And of course the Max fan.
Oh yeah, and our Max fan. So lots to make. Let's do it.
Get to work, lady.
We started this template a while ago. I think it was actually when we very first got the van, and we didn't come back to it. So we just used this paper. You can use any paper you have, and we just traced a template around the window, making sure that the material we have covers this metal part, because what we're gonna do is use magnets to hold the window cover in place. Luckily I get to work inside today. It's very hot outside, so this will be a fun project. I say that now. We'll see. So let's get into the materials. I will drop all of the links to everything in the description. First of all, like I said, outside you'll need some sort of builder's paper or newspaper, anything like that, so you can make templates out of them. You can also trace it onto cardboard, whatever works. But you'll want something to make your templates out of. And then for the actual window covers themselves, I did a little research. I watched different YouTube videos. I also went to different blogs. And then I also looked at the professionally made window covers and tried to get some similar materials to what they have. So for the window covers themselves, one side will have ripstop nylon. It's pretty much waterproof, so that'll be good. This will be the side that we leave facing out at night, so it looks like completely pitch black. For the insulation layer, we are going to be using low E. So we have a bunch of leftover low E from when we did our some of the insulation in our van. So we're going to be using that as the middle layer. And then on the other side, I know some people would just leave that facing out, that way it can reflect the sun. But when we have the black facing out at nighttime, we want pretty curtains on the inside so it looks nice. So I got this kind of linen looking curtain, and they're blackout curtains. So if you look on the inside, it does have a completely blackout material. So we'll do a little tester sample to make sure it actually works and it looks good before we actually build out the whole thing. So we'll see how that goes. And then to attach the window covers to the van, we have these magnets. Again, I'll put the link in the description. They're very strong, so you have to be careful with them. And then other materials, I'm doing a no-sew window cover. So I saw a video where someone used this, I'd never heard of this before, stitch witchery. And it's something that you can basically, it's an adhesive that you can put on and basically iron on, and it'll adhere the two materials. So figured I'd try this out because I don't have a sewing machine. So this will be what we use for the majority of the window covers. Outside of that, you need iron and you need scissors. So let's get started. First things first, I'm just gonna cut a small square of all of the different materials and just do a little test square and see if it looks like it's actually black out outside, or if you can see the low E through it. So let's create a little sample. These aren't perfect, but this will give you an idea. So this will be one side and this will be the other side. So we got our stitch witchery. This feels really interesting. I don't know what I thought it was going to feel like. Okay, so obviously I'm going to have a different shape and cut these things better to size, but it's an example. So stitch witchery, you just iron on and it adheres the two materials around. So you can see in the middle here I have the low E, and then on the sides you can see where it adheres. So the stitch witchery will go in between different panels that we have on the window covers. That way we can fold them rather than having just one massive window cover. So we want it to be foldable. So there we go. And looks like that worked pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the hard part, we get to the real thing.
All right, what do we got here?
All right, we're gonna test fit. I did my first draft and all the sides are open so we can still trim and slide the low E around, but we have all of our panels.
Looks good.
I measured it wrong, so the small panel, or the bottom panel, is a bit smaller than the rest, but it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
What are you looking for in this test?
Just if it can still fit. So, like if I put an edge around this and have magnets, does it fit? I think so.
You want all the fibers to be one.
I hate fire. We have our window cover, so we're gonna test it out and see how much light you can see come through the window. How does that look?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could see anything.
Well, from right here I can kind of see it, but at least it's not obvious. I would say it's like 99% covered. Good enough special. Wow, the van looks so nice at night. Well, it looks nice during the day too, but looks extra nice at night with the lights on. What do you think?
Just taking a peek. Looks good.
Good enough?
Yeah, probably good enough.
Okay. Sounds good.
Redo it all. Oh,
Good
wow.
night. Good night.
Good night.
You can see the moon.
Oh.
Bailey's heavy.
Call her fat.
No, after test fitting, we learned that the two rear windows are actually not the same. So initially I thought that I could use the same template for both of them and that the window covers that we had could be, you know, done anyways because we can have the black facing out on either side. However, when we went to test the final, we realized that the two windows are different sizes, and unfortunately, when I made this template, I traced it as if it was the black side facing in. So this actually isn't a perfect fit, as you can see in this top corner. That was actually supposed to be on this corner down here. So we're gonna leave it for now. It's not a perfect fit, but it's good enough, but just something to keep in mind when you're making your templates. You'll want to make your templates beforehand. Just know the rear windows aren't necessarily exactly the same. So now we're making a template on the second rear window and we'll get that built out. Alright, I cut off the edges and now we have our template back in here, test fit to make sure everything looks good. And I'm using magnets to hold it in place so I can test the fit. So this should be perfect. And this time what I'm going to do is label the template so I know which side needs to be the linen and which side needs to be the black nylon material. So let's do that now. I'm going to trace our template onto our linen first, making sure that we're tracing it on the right way. So I'm going to use pencil to trace the template onto this side of the linen. That way we have this side facing out. And then I'll leave a little bit of space around the template that I trace. That way we have some extra material to work with and we can always cut it off after. And then I'll also trace it onto this material as well. So let's do it. Okay, we just traced the template onto our curtain. So now we're gonna cut and leave, I don't know, maybe an inch or so around the edge. Okay, there we go. We're gonna cut our template in the low E as well, and then we'll make some trims. next we are going to make our panels, and we want them as evenly spaced as we can. On the first one I thought I had them evenly spaced, but then it actually needed a bigger gap in between the panels, so the last panel ended up getting squished and I had to cut it down quite a bit. At its longest point it's around like 31.5 inches, and I knew that I wanted to have 5 panels. And then I also know that our stitch witchery here is 5/8 inch. So what I did was I knew that we were going to have 4 sections in between the panels, multiplied by 5/8 inch times 4 is 2.5 inches. So then I subtracted 2.5 from 31.5, which is 29, divided by 5, and that gave me 5.8. But since there are some shorter parts, I ended up, I think, doing 5.6 instead. So anyway, I tried to make semi-equal panels, but I did leave the last one a little bit longer because, as I noticed with the first one, as I was ironing on the stitch witchery, I had to cut the last one quite a bit. So I left this one longer. That way, you know, if we do have to cut it down a bit as we like iron on things, then there's more to work with and we don't have a like tiny little piece at the end. So we'll see how this works. I'm gonna cut out I don't know if you can see this, but I marked where each panel should end, where the stitch witchery will be, so I'll cut all of those out, and then we will assemble once we cut it. And now we are going to use our chalk pen and trace the template onto our black nylon material. And then now we are going to cut around just to get rid of some of the material around the template. So I have a towel down since I'm just on our kitchen table. I have my linen material lined up with my black nylon, and then I'm going to grab my stitch witchery. And we are going to use the stitch witchery on this complete top. That way we can kind of seal it, and then you'll see it'll make it easier for the next pieces going in. So I'm gonna cut this to length, around the length that I want. We're going to layer it on the top of the linen here. Okay, and then we're gonna go grab our iron and seal it. We hold it for about 10 seconds. So now what we do is we're gonna go piece by piece. I'm going to grab my first panel here, line it up with the top, and then grab my next piece of stitch witchery, which I will line up here. I'm going to trim the end. Actually, before I seal this in, I forgot, I'm just going to take just a very small piece off of this. Do very slightly. So we're gonna get everything lined up, hold it nice and tight at the top, get our stitch witchery in place right up against that panel. And we are going to bring this back over. Try to pull this tight as possible. Grab our iron. And kind of go in from here. then we will just repeat the process. Actually, let's see if I can iron this out a little bit. We have the stitch witchery in between all of these panels all ironed in, and then we also went around the edges and used stitch witchery there. That way it's all kind of sealed in. And as you can see now, that makes it perfectly easy to roll this up. So now all that we have left is the edges. Bailey wanted to come say hi, so. Hi Bailey. Next up, we are going to trim these edges down a bit and then cover the edges with this material. I'll drop all of the links to these things in the description so you guys can check that out. But let's get to it. We are going to use this edge banding and glue it down on the linen side first, because we're gonna have to glue the other side of the edge, and the other side, the black side, is where we're gonna attach our magnets. So we're gonna do the easier side first. So again, grabbing this, we are going to kind of crease it in half, and then we can follow that crease as we hot glue it onto our material. Kind of start lining it up, folding it over, and then we're gonna grab our hot glue gun and just start gluing. I just do a little bit at a time. Fold that over, press down, kind of just hold it until it hardens. And then it will look like this. So we'll just keep doing that all the way around. And we just had these already, so we're just using this Gorilla hot glue sticks. This little guy. That is what it'll look like around the rim. It'll probably be reinforcing a few areas, but this is the finished product. So this is all hot glued around here. And then on the back side, you can see in certain spots, maybe you can't see, I have magnets that are in here. So overall looks pretty good. We can fold it up. You can also do accordion style too, I think. So we got options. Then we can also test fit this. Oh dear. Alright, so we got it up here. Fits pretty well. At least it fits better than the first one I did, so we're gonna call it good. So anyway, that's the second one, and now we have to do the sliding door, the two front like driver and passenger side windows, and then the big windshield. So lots more to do, but two down. I officially finished this piece. So as you can see, if we want to use our or have our window open, we'll just tuck it up like this. And then if we need to go stealth mode, I guess we have to say goodbye to our window. And then, oh, I just slid the whole thing down. Then we can just go like this. And then should be all covered. And if you look from the outside, you can't see the lights coming in, so go check it out.
Liana's making me walk. And I'm the lazy one. Yeah, I see a reflection. No light leakage. I mean, honestly, I just see myself. Hello, people. But yeah, we promise that we can't see anything in here.
We got our 2 front window covers on, so we have our passenger side and our driver's side. I think that's all we're going to cover in this video. I still have to do the windshield and then the vent fan, so I'll do those later, but I'll follow the same process that I did for these 5. I think we're going to wrap this video here. It wasn't actually too bad to make those. It probably took me about 4 hours per window cover, but we're really happy with how they look, and it's definitely helping to keep the van cooler during the day and give us some privacy at night. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions or if you're making your own window covers, and be sure to subscribe to follow along the rest of our build, and we're getting really close to getting on the road, so you can follow those adventures too, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!
Bye-bye.